Hello, this is a instructional video on transplanting a sago palm. This is the sago that's going to be removed. If you look closely here, you can see this is a female. There's a large flower that's on the sago. It's not ideal to transplant when there is a flower, but it is what it is, and the sago will survive. If you notice here, I've got the tarp on the ground. I've cleared the ground out around the trunk. I usually like to put a tarp down so that as I start to dig the dirt out, it's easy to just fill the hole back in. So what I do when I transplant a sago is I like to start digging about 12 inches out from the trunk, and then try to do just clean cuts down through the ground. So what I do is I just kind of go in a circle, starting out from the trunk, and just dig down, try to get through the roots. All right, so what we've done here is we wrapped the trunk and the fronds up with a tarp and then with bungee cords, and that allows to get the fronds out of the way, so they're not poking you when you're digging around the trunk. And see, I've already kind of dug a little bit of a trench around as I try to get through the roots. So that's the next step. That's good. All right, so you can see how we've dug a pretty large trench around the root ball here. This sago has been here a long time, and it's got a lot of roots. So we still haven't actually loosened it up. The goal is to dig down further and under so you can start getting the big ones and leave some of the roots intact. So this has been a tough one, but we're getting there. Kind of gotten to the extent of how much we can dig around this tree here, around the sago, because there's just not a lot of place to work and there's rock, and so it's really hard to get down. So with this kind of job, we're going to take the unorthodox step of trying to put some pressure on it by pulling it with a tow strap. This is the first time I've done this, taking out many sagos. This is the first time. We tried to get it down far enough underneath the root ball so it won't traumatize the roots too much. You definitely would not want to put a tow strap around the trunk. That would break it and not work, but we'll see if this works.
Yeah. Shall watch where it straps.
There it goes. Let's see that. Yeah, keep it going. Keep going. Keep going. There we go. Very good.
Nice! Woohoo!
You'll notice that a lot of the roots came out, and it looks like they got denuded, which we'll later have to just snip them off, but otherwise this came out very well.
What's denude?
Denuded.
Takes the bark off.
Took the outer layer of the root off, so they're no good, but we can just snip them off.
Debarked.
Just bark on roots.
All right. So, we've rolled the sago's now free. We've got a fairly large root ball, and we've rolled it onto a hand truck because it's very heavy. So we're going to try to pull it out of the pit here on this hand truck. So here we go. All right. So then it's pretty easy. I just have to roll it over to my car and we'll get it in there. Is that gonna run into 4 inches?
Joe, I think running might be a bad idea, to be honest.
Yeah.
So don't, you'll be on the Jerry of the day.
We're steering. Okay.
Nice!
All right, so here we have the 2 sagos that I took out today in the back of my car. So the next step before you put them into the ground is you want to look for any macerated roots, because the roots get busted up anytime you take sagos out. So what I do is I try to kind of look up the root where there's good viable root and just cut it off right there. And And then here's another one. Just so there's a clean cut. There's one there. And I just look around at the roots to see if there's any others that are kind of smashed or broken, because they'll die, and that if I cut them off clean, you avoid rot in the ground, because the sago is going to be in new soil with a lot of moisture. So here is the sago palm that I took out earlier today. I cleaned up the root ball. I took some of the dirt off, rounded it out, cut off any of the loose or damaged roots that were either frayed at the ends or were broken, because they won't work, or if they're denuded, I took those off as well. So so I have a fairly nice uniform root ball here, and so I'm gonna get ready to put this in the hole. Have the hole dug that you're gonna put the sago in, you know, before you get up in next to the area, and also before you transplant the sago in the first place. You want to just already have a place set out so you can minimize how much time the sago is out of the ground. Have the transplanted sago in the ground. I did a mix of garden soil and potting mix and the regular soil, and I always like to put a little bit of water down and just soak the soil around the tree after it's been transplanted, just because the roots are kind of dried out. Some people don't like doing that, but I've had a lot of success just putting some water down initially, and I'll probably wait a few days to put any more water down. As you can see, it's dark. This was a long job and took a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it was very heavy. You know, one of the things about sagos is they're a lot heavier than they look. I would say this one here weighed at least 250 pounds with this root ball, and so we got it in here, and it's probably going to go into a little bit of shock because the roots were really had to be cut back quite severely. This is the sago that we transplanted yesterday. It's in a planter. It's got plenty of space for the roots to regrow. You'll notice this sago is probably from the ground level up to the crown, probably about 20-25 inches. So sagos grow about an inch a year. That's why they're so nice to transplant. They do very well generally in transplant, but having one that's 20 years old, you have a 20-year-old tree that you can put in, and you know it's going to stay about the same for a long period of time. It's hard to predict how much shock it will go into. Over time, in the next few months, some of the leaves here may turn yellow and die. You just cut those off. Don't give up on the sago palm. Even if you cut all the leaves off, eventually new growth will come out of the crown. Now you'll see another one I transplanted here yesterday in fairly shallow ground. One thing I've learned about sagos, they can tolerate all sorts of different ground conditions, shallow soil, on top of rock. The main thing is that they don't get too much water. So we'll have to see how these two do over time.